What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph Brocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt Milstead.
And this is Brocast number 13.
Apparently
and
Dave doesn't have a last name, but I do.
I am Dave Koss, if you didn't know that. This is a podcast which is a supplement to Brograph.com, which is a Cinema 4D and motion graphics tutorial website. So we kind of dig into detail on things that we may not completely cover in some of the tutorials, or things that wouldn't really make a great tutorial, I guess. Things about the graphics industry. It's not just about technical stuff. It's about business stuff. It's about organization and life hacks and
freelancing and tips and tricks to do well in the industry. At least I hope that's the way we come across.
And you know, it's funny. It's been a nutso week, but the thing about having a nutso week is that I always have more to talk about. So it makes for a better podcast, I guess. And when nothing happens during the week, it makes for a boring show. So
yeah, I suppose.
We were supposed to have Lance on this week. However, the two of us are working on an incredibly taxing project right now.
Very.
And he is a little bit behind, and he decided that he would rather get the project done and be on next week. I, however, have been working for 3 days straight without stopping. I have literally been sitting here, and I have to take a break because my brain hurts.
Word. And I have not been working for 3 days. I've actually been enjoying my weekend.
Lucky.
And I feel super ready for this podcast.
I am too. I have extensive notes, as you saw.
Actually, I totally forgot we were even doing one up until about 2 hours ago.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah, I have extensive notes, and so it'll probably be a long one, but I think it'll be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said. I'm literally running on espresso and Monster right now, so it's going to be one of those days, one of those nights, one of those podcasts.
I'm running on barbecue and Diet Coke.
Ooh, man, I got sleepy.
I got the meat sweats.
Ooh, gross. And I'm drinking an espresso right now.
Delicious.
Ooh. All right, so lighting plugin update.
Mm-hmm.
I have worked on it a little, but man, I have been so slammed I didn't get to finish it the way I thought because of this other project kind of getting in the way.
I've used it a couple times throughout the week, and there's one thing that I've been meaning to talk to you about.
What's that?
Well, so you know how when you've got lights in your scene and it kind of fills up the scene or whatever, it changes the way your viewer looks. And if you turn them all off, you kind of see just like the flat lighting or whatever.
Yes.
When you click to turn off, like you don't get that flat lighting or whatever. I would love to be able to see the flat lighting, you know?
Well, good news.
Good news.
Good news, everyone. I have a note already in my Octane lighting pack because I've been using it myself this week.
Mm-hmm.
And to put in a new option for mute viewer reference spot.
Cool.
Because for that very reason, because sometimes even if you change your type of view, it still doesn't do exactly what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I put that in there just for that reason, in case you don't want to see that light output. You just want to see the wireframe.
Okay, cool. Well, there you go.
The other thing that I'm adding to it is, well, not really adding, but changing, is something Lance brought up, which was a good point, which is normalization for spotlights needs to be off by default. So you and I have talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm still quite confused when it comes to normalization. Like, I mean, I understand what it is, you know, I just don't understand necessarily when is the best case to turn it off and when is the best case to turn it on. Because I would think it only makes sense to me to always have it off. Well, and adjust your lights accordingly.
True, but the nature of these lights is like, by default, they're very hot because they are spotlights. They're not like regular, fill lights, I guess, regular area lights. And so something about it, like, they come in real hot. And you just put a few of those in there, and all of a sudden it's cray-cray. So
Yeah, I want to say that I did notice that if you turn the power like way down low, like you almost need like percentages or, 0.001 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do probably after playing with it for a while is I'm going to adjust the sliders. The slider values on some of these things I tend to be at the bottom all the time. And so I'm thinking like I need to just extend it so like you could do the higher values if you have to, but I'm going to make the maximum values lower so that you have a little more breathing room with your sliders.
Gotcha. That's smart.
So, and we did get people interested.
Woohoo!
We got a couple people interested in doing the alpha. I have a list together.
We can't get people to review our iTunes, but the second we say we're giving something away,
right.
That's not a free t-shirt. Yeah, cool. I'll take it.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to have like, I don't want to call it a non-disclosure agreement. It's really, it's kind of like an NDA. It's all it's saying is like, don't disclose anything you might see. Like that would be trade secret. You can talk about it all you want. I don't care. It'll just be that along with a little survey about how you use it and stuff like that. That'll go along with it. Very, very lax though. Like there's nothing like contractually binding. Like you can't make plugins if you look at our plugin or anything like that. I'm not about that. That's not gonna happen. But it will say like you just promise not to disclose like what we're doing,
right?
Before we release the product. That's about it. So I got my 4K TV fixed too. It went out this week, which was.
Did they have to come in and fix it, or did you send it off?
They came here and fixed it.
That's so weird.
It was under warranty, and Samsung has like a repair annex in Dallas. So
did they say what was wrong with it?
Yeah, it was exactly what I thought it was, because I call up and they're like, is it plugged into an outlet? Like, yes. Is the outlet plugged into is it wired to a light switch? No, it is not. It stopped working. Can you turn the TV on? No, that's why I called you. Can you press the menu button and does the menu come up on the screen? No, because the TV doesn't turn on.
Wow.
So, I had to play Halo all week on a 24-inch HD TV like a poor person.
Like a poor person. With all the 2 minutes that you actually had to play.
Right.
GTA.
Dude, I pine for that render time. Like I plan my day around, I'm going to get all this done and I have 20 minutes of render time and I'm going to get 2 games of Halo in. And so it's like my reward.
See, you've got the Xbox One, so you're playing Halo. See, me, on the other hand, the only gaming system, I've got a PS3, but I really don't play it. Like, I really like my Steam games now that I've got the Monster Mac, and so it's like, but when I'm rendering, nope, don't get to play.
That's why I need an Xbox One, and Halo.
Yeah, right.
Be on. I'm loving it, man.
I just bought a new laptop. I don't think I'm going to convince my wife to let me buy a Xbox One.
It's not too bad. I'm sure that they came down in price for the holidays.
Yeah, so I've seen them for like $300. I saw the PS4 at Costco today for like $275.
Oh man,
it's pretty good. Bad. No, it's not bad at all.
So this whole thing, man, it was a power supply. I knew it was a power supply, and I guess like what used to happen is the capacitors would go out. And the guy came here, it was real nice. He's like, yeah, the whole thing is like, they don't even want us to replace the capacitors because then we got to sit here and solder. They just have us replace the whole board. And it was so simple. Like it was I could have done it, but it was under warranty. So I didn't want to void the warranty. But if it happens after it's out of warranty later, all you got to do is like take 4 screws out, pull a board off with a ribbon cable, put the new one on, plug the ribbon cable back in. It's so easy.
Cool.
Like if you see the way they build their stuff. And
did they say that this was like a problem that they've found in a lot of their TVs and stuff? Like, dude, are you going to have to do this?
I asked him about it, right? He said 2 out of every 10 of my model have this problem.
Jeez.
So I'm
20%?
I know. I was like, that's really crappy, man. So I guess this new board, though, is like upgraded capacitors, so it probably won't happen again. But if it does, yeah.
How cheap is the part?
I don't know. I imagine it probably costs $100 at least. But, it's better than buying a new TV.
Yeah. That's awesome. It seems like Samsung's just putting out only 4K TVs now. Like when I was at Costco today, Yeah, apparently my this whole podcast is going to be like me talking about Costco, apparently. But when I was there, I was looking at all the TVs and I was like, oh, this is 4K. This is 4K. All of these are 4K. And they're like really reasonably priced. Like 55-inch for $1,000. Jeez.
Yeah, well, my 55-inch was like $1,100.
Yeah.
Samsung, smart TV, has the apps, has all that stuff in it, right?
You can check your Domino's on it.
Yeah, has the Domino's delivery overlay on it.
That's super cool.
It's real dope. And so it was $750 something for Black Friday.
That's so awesome.
It's insane, man. That's absolutely insane. And yeah, there's not a lot of 4K content, but shoot, you might as well.
Right, totally. Especially when you can play GTA 5 4K.
Oh,
Did you have you
beautiful.
looked at the size of that download, by the way?
Which
how big the game is?
Yeah, it's huge.
It's 61 gigs.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, all the stuff on Xbox is like that.
Really?
The Fallout that I downloaded,
the
new Fallout on Xbox was it was around that 60-something gig.
So you bought it online and downloaded it?
Yeah, you don't even have to go to the store anymore with the new Xbox.
So you downloaded it on. How big is your hard drive for that? I mean, I would think you would only be able to hold like 5 games.
I didn't get the biggest one, but it's really pretty big. I want to say it's like a terabyte or something. So it's, I mean,
that's crazy.
It's not bad. I'm sure you can, get expansions and stuff. I don't have that many games anyway, so it's not really a big deal.
Yeah.
And I have some other ones that I delete, when I'm not using them. I don't care. I think you can save your game info and just delete the game.
Oh.
So you could always reload
That's cool.
it,
That's very cool.
I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been crazy, man, but it's still been a great week. I'm off on my own, as you know, trying to get things going. It's been very successful. I'm still, not ready to go at 5 o'clock. I'm not enough hours in the day still. And you and I heard somebody, or I at least did when I met up with you the other day, saying, oh, it's just waiting for 5 o'clock. Can't come soon enough. And I'm thinking, man, I remember what that was like. But I feel good about it. And speaking of which, went to the DPA mixer, which is the Dallas Producers Association, and it was great. 300 something people were there.
That's crazy.
And,
I didn't know there were 300.
Oh, it was fancy, man. They had a live band playing, and it was in a ballroom at a hotel, and so many people there.
Yeah.
So many people. And I saw a million people I knew. Barely had time to talk to new people.
That's cool.
So many people I knew, and it was really cool. But I saw some people I knew in graphics and met some people that have seen Brograph stuff. I was wearing my Brograph shirt. Very underdressed.
Don't you know you're never supposed to wear the t-shirt of the band that you're in?
Yeah, but I do it anyway. And so met some people who are building Octane monster machines based on the tutorial.
That's super awesome.
Yeah.
We've had a few people asking for us to, I'm telling you, we need to redo it. We should make that like next weekend or the weekend after or something.
Yeah, a lot of people have asked. It's definitely in the list of things to do. In the meantime, though, I did produce a blog about it. If you go to Brograph.com and go to the blog, there's a list of what you need, what the parts are.
Very cool.
Because a lot of people, they watched it, but they kind of want a parts list. I had a lot of people ask about that this week. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to put this up here because I've had so many questions. I think I had 3 people ask me about it this week.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And that's not the first time people have asked me. So I'm like, okay, I definitely need to do that. People that listen to the podcast, for sure. And and tutorials in general, I have not been able to do part 2 of my next tutorial, but it'll get there.
Yeah. December's kind of a crazy month.
Yeah, you figure everybody's not doing stuff because of the holidays, but man.
Well, I mean, people are trying to get their Christmas stuff in, and some people go through video people in order to get their videos done. And it's just,
right.
It's crazy.
And Ash Thorpe, I saw somebody sent out he sent out a tweet, and he said he was checking out some Octane stuff and was looking for Octane resources. And somebody said, "Hey, check out Brograph's Octane stuff," and he was like, "Cool, I'll check that out." So I was like, "Sweet,
It's pretty sweet."
Ash Thorpe checking out our stuff. That's pretty cool.
And if he's listening, shout out.
What's up, bro? I like your artwork. I see every time I open After Effects. That's dope. Now he has a podcast. Pretty popular one,
I think they're actually taking a break.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, I want to say that I read online, or I saw online the other day that they were saying that they were going to take a short break.
Well, the type of content that is on that show is pretty in depth. It's not like we do. Mm-hmm. It's like getting really, really good, like in-depth guests to talk about really deep artistic stuff. From what I saw of it, I haven't really like dug into the podcast and listened to it yet. Mm-hmm. But the people that I've been talking to about it, and from like the couple clips that I heard, that's what it's like. I imagine that's a difficult thing to produce.
Yeah, probably.
Because it's not like us where we write some stuff down and we just sit here and chat. Like there's a lot of
where we forget that we're doing a podcast 2 hours before.
Right. Right.
I forget. Dave's all about it.
There's a lot of pre-production, it seems like, because even if you look at their site, like different artwork for each one, and each one they discuss somebody's piece that they did, and like it just seems like, that's probably a lot of work, and I bet that's time consuming, but it's a great resource. So props on that.
Shout out to the 2 new reviews that we got on iTunes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got those. 2.
You want to read them to me?
Well, maybe this one we had this one last time, I guess. Whoops, sorry. IZR. This is a great podcast, always fun to listen to, and they have some great advice for C4D users and great news about render engines and V-Ray and Octane for C4D. 5 stars.
I don't know if I saw that.
MG Farkle said, "These 2 guys seem to telepathically know the questions that are in my head and attempt to answer them in a great back and forth dialogue." That's good.
That's good.
That is good.
I like that. Man,
they keep things light and fun, but cover important topics at the same time. There's a virtual broship that's been forged. Fist bump as I hear them struggling with some of the same things I have in motion graphics arena. It's great that, I dropped my computer. That they could cover such a wide range of topics in each podcast, not choosing one subject to beat into the ground for an hour. Keep them coming. Nice. That's cool.
Cool.
That feels good.
Yeah, I like that. That's a very that's a very good piece of feedback that I've been getting, and especially like in some of the comments and stuff that I saw even this week on YouTube, is that people are liking the way that we're explaining things.
Well, that's good.
As a teacher or someone doing a tutorial, that's that's what you are striving for. So
for sure. I mean, I know sometimes when I'm listening to the podcast after we do it the next day, I have a tendency to sometimes tune out whenever we start talking all technical.
Well, I know a lot of people like that, and a lot of people like things explained in a way that they just understand it, and I enjoy explaining it. And so I guess that's a good relationship to have, right? That's
totally.
a good thing to have.
Real quick, while Dave was at the DPA mixer, I had the pleasure of getting to see Ken Burns speak at SMU at the Tate Lecture Series. And I will tell you, I was so excited going, and I was so pumped for it. I've been pumped for it for the past few months, knowing that I was going to get to go. And so I was like, I'm going to learn so much. I'm going to be there. I get to witness a professional, like the one of the best. I mean, he's got his own filter, And so I was really excited about it, and I get there and I start listening to him talk, and I just felt like the biggest idiot in the world, because he's smart. He's really, really smart, or he just speaks incredibly well. He is so articulate, and he speaks in these like metaphors, and it's like when he's reading, it's almost like he's reading a script from his own documentary about himself or something, you know. And I just,
is he coming at you slowly the whole time and slightly rotating?
yeah. He's slowly walking right up to you, staring you right in the eyes. Which is crazy that he did it with a room full of people, to each person.
Every single one.
Every single
3D.
one. Yeah, so I don't know. It was really good. Like he spoke like it was almost like poetry listening to him speak. But I didn't feel like I was really getting much professionally out of it. And so then I realized, like, most of the people who were going to that lecture series are like older people and just people who have seen his documentaries or something. They're not looking at it.
Right.
They're not looking to learn about the technical aspect or whatever of his filmmaking. They're more there to, see him. So, but I mean, one cool thing I really liked that he said, he was talking about, like, he said he never focuses on like one particular thing, like African Americans in the United States, or Native Americans in the United States, or one specific group of people. He likes to keep it general, so that it doesn't, it's not so much, what was it? He says by talking about, what is it? It makes them, it resegregates people whenever you start talking about that one particular thing,
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting. It's very interesting, especially with all the stuff that's going on right now, I don't know. It was, that was kind of the one thing that I took away from it. And he says he always tries to do subjects that are big, but aren't necessarily focused on one particular thing, The new one that he's got coming out, we got to see the first little part of it. It's about Vietnam, the Vietnam War. Man, it looked cool. It looked all right.
It's
Ken Burns.
I like that thought, though. I mean, the thing about it is, like, not to get too political, but I do feel that way about, like, about race and stuff, where it's like, the more we talk about it, the more it's just not going to go away. You know? And that makes perfect sense to me. Like, I hate racial problems, and I want them to go away, but I don't concentrate on it, because I feel like, why? I mean, obviously there's some problems in this world, but if I dwell on it, then it's just never going to go away. If everybody dwells on it, it's not going to go away.
Right. Anyway, I got to see Ken Burns speak, and I was super depressed leaving because he's so much smarter than me, and I kind of felt like an idiot.
Like listening to John Roderick.
Yeah. It's like listening to Merlin Mann and John Roderick on the Line. I have a hard time listening to that podcast, as much as I love the way they just play off of each other, and John Roderick, he's so funny. He's got so many good stories, and like really ones that really envelop you or bring you in, make you feel a part of it. But they're so smart, and I'm not that smart.
High literary references.
Yes, exactly. And they make jokes about World War II a lot, and I just don't get it. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't like feeling dumb.
Yeah, there's a lot of Germany stuff they talk about on there.
Yeah. Anyway,
that German Scheißen.
Right. All right. So,
I speaking of like listener activity, and we've been getting so much activity on our various channels, and it's great. I'm absolutely loving that, because it feels like I'm talking to people multiple times a day. Yeah. Sitting down and like answering questions, talking to people, and so I did do a live modeling session this week.
Yeah, for 4 hours.
For 4 hours. Well, everybody's like, man, 4 hours. I'm like, but all I was doing is working.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like working with a microphone in front of me. That's the only difference. So people are watching me work, and I can stop and talk to people and whatnot. And
Yeah, I had you up on my monitor. I was just
fun.
watching you work.
It's a very rare thing to. I mean, it's a very niche thing to do.
It is kind of rare to be able to see someone in their environment, especially for some of the newer people who are not really into in the industry yet. Being able to see how someone works and what they're doing, and I mean, that's really where I learned, or was being able to watch other people and how they do it.
But it was nice because I think at any given time, I think there was about 15 people watching at one point, and which isn't a lot in the grand scheme, but considering how niche it is and how relatively small our audience is right now, that's pretty good. And so it was fun to talk to people about stuff like that, and I ran into somebody in there named Zubair Parker. And we chatted for a while. I actually showed him kind of what I was doing with the Spotlight for the Spotlight plugin at one point.
Yeah, I was watching that.
And he was telling me about a piece. It's a plugin for Cinema. It was the first one I think that he wrote called Dope Text. So I said I'd mention that in the show because I checked that out. There'd be a link in the show notes. You can go see that, and it allows you to do stuff with basic text in Cinema, like different animations and moves and stuff, and a lot of moves that are similar to what you and I do manually a lot. Because I'm a big manual kind of just
me too.
Brute force kind of guy. Sometimes I'm like I'm not going to bother with plugins and this and the like, but. This seems like it does a lot of the stuff that I tend to do manually. And also it's kind of a work in progress, but water condensation rig. And
which is mega cool. Like, because we've been, the most hits we've gotten is on the cola bottle one. It'd be cool to see what we could do mixing the two.
Yeah, it looks good. I think he posted it on Reddit subreddit a while back, maybe like a month ago or so, and got good reviews. And
totally.
So there'll be a link to that as well, to the Reddit thread if you want to go check that out and play with that.
Cool.
And MotionWorks, actually, I was talking to MotionWorks on Twitter.
Nice.
The other day. I don't know if you saw any of that conversation.
I didn't. No.
He posted this render, and it was all right. Like it was using.
Oh boy, what did you say?
I didn't say anything bad. I say it's all right. I mean, it was great. Don't get me wrong. No, I say it's all right because I'm used to Octane, and now when I see something in the regular render engine, I'm just like, well, that's cool, but like, why not use?
And Grayscale mentioned us in one of their tweets?
Yeah, so someone from Grayscale was mentioning us in there because we were talking about it. I was like, how long did that render take? Here's what it was. Is it looked a little flat to me. I'll be honest. That's my constructive criticism. It looked great, but it was using the new top coat.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right. Oh yeah. It does look a little flat.
It just looks like that flat.
The juice looks a little weird.
Yeah, and there's subsurface scattering on it. It doesn't even look like, I don't know. It just it's very, very high as far as the settings go. And I said, how long did that take? Because something like that in Octane would take maybe 1 or 2 minutes. He said that one frame took 5 hours to render. And that's where Grayscale chimed in, was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
5 hours. I'm like, geez, man. Like, what are your settings? But yeah, I mean, it looks great, but that's just me, right? I'm always gonna say, well, if you could do that in Octane.
Yeah, you're a part of the Octane, the obligatory Octane, chat.
It's because I see something like that, and the MotionWorks guy, I don't know his name. I see him on Twitter all the time, but I know his face, but I don't know his name. I know if he had Octane, he'd be all over it.
Yeah.
Because of what he's doing right now.
Yeah, totally.
And would just absolutely love it. And I just, that's why I just want to spread the word, because I'm like, dude, you got to get into this because you would just flip. You would love it. So, and I've been ignoring my Facebook 9x9 rule. God, I've been doing a horrible job at that.
Yeah, you have. You've been posting like crazy the past couple days.
It's because I'm working on this project, so I'm rendering like something every 15 minutes. I'm having to do a lot of tests.
Yeah.
And so it's like, test this thing, let it do a hardware render, get on Facebook for 5 minutes, come back. But the problem is that I'm really good at posting things on Facebook that I will come back. Like, there's one day that I did not get, I did do the rule, right? The 9x9 rule. And I posted something in the morning. I think, because of what happened in California, I made some comment like, we should regulate the pipe bomb market because, regulation of pipe bombs will keep them out of the hands of these people. It's just being funny, sarcastic, whatever. And I come back and there's 70 comments. And I'm like, man, I wish I could get that kind of response from Brograph. I can start an S storm in seconds. Like, I have my friends will text me and be like, dude, how do you get people to talk like this?
Yeah, but it's all your friends and family and stuff. They like talking about this stuff. Everyone, all of your friends like poking the bear.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You love poking the Facebook bear.
And I have such a... Oh, yeah. I definitely troll. Don't get me wrong. But I have such a spectrum of friends on Facebook, ranging from hardcore left to hardcore right, that, man, it's like I don't even have to say anything. I just say something tongue-in-cheek, and everybody just loses it. So I've got to get, like, this week, man, starting tomorrow, it's 9x9. I got, like... It's sucking me back in. I had my Facebook thing under control for a while. It's sucking me back in, and I've got to get it under control. It's just awful.
Yeah, I don't do any of that. I just surf whenever I want to surf. Yeah. So I still hate it. But what else?
You still hate surfing?
Oh, I hate Facebook. I hate it with a passion.
I love to hate it. I hate to love it. Just
give me everything that people say and don't give me anything that anyone likes. Because I don't care about the likes. Like, my entire Facebook feed will be filled up with people that I don't know. And I don't care. So.
And then we had lunch with Thomas this week, who is somebody that we met. Well, okay, I met him on Reddit because I noticed he was from Dallas.
I met him on Grindr.
No, I met him on Reddit because I noticed that something he posts a cool render, and I was like, oh, you're from Dallas. And then I looked at his stuff, and then I was like, hey, you should come hang out with us when we have lunch sometime, because like we always get a bunch of graphics guys together and, total nerd talk and whatnot. And so it's like me and you and Joe, who did the nuke tutorial on Brograph, and Lance, who we talk about all the time, who's going to be on next week, and a bunch of other guys. It was my
birthday that day.
And it was your birthday. So I said, come out and meet us, and then, of course, I find out that, I didn't put two and two together till he got there. He had actually sent in questions that we answered
that's
back
cool.
in episode 7 or whatever. And so I wasn't aware that he actually knew like of our work or whatnot. You and I always joke around, hey, we met our fan.
Yeah.
But
that's Luke. What's up, Luke?
What's up, Luke? So I think he told me he's behind on the podcast this week. He'll hear this in a couple months. So that was actually cool because we had so much to talk about especially in Octane, because like there were 4 Octane guys at one table,
Yeah, and that's the most Octane people ever.
Right?
In one room.
It kind of seems like it, doesn't it? Like we were like, man, 4 Octane guys, like this is like epic right now. And so we had a lot of fun, and so that was cool. And then another guy that we have that we talked about exiting gracefully on one of our early episodes.
Yeah.
And how not to burn bridges and whatnot, and how I had talked to our friend Alex and been like, look, here's how you need to quit. And it's worked out for him because now, he's getting work from the company he used to work for, contract work, and I'm like, there you go, man. You did it the right way. It's working out. You took my advice, and, now you have your new job and you're also getting side work. So good on you.
Yeah. A couple of jobs that I had, a few years ago, I'd been there for like 9 years, and it was one of my first video jobs. when I quit, I was the only person who left on good terms, who like gave a 2-week notice and was able to actually go throughout their whole 2 weeks. And also, he let me keep my key to the store because he's like, I'm going to have more work for you. You might as well just keep the key. I've had the key for, it's been 3.5 years since I quit. And I still have a key. I still go in there in the morning sometimes or on my way home from work to pick up some work. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's just testament to what we talked about, just do things the right way. And then you're working on a reel.
Yes. Slowly. I've got the bulk. No, I don't want to say the bulk because I still have a ton of work I have to do. So basically, I'm doing my beginning, intro, and outro stuff, and so I'm building those animations, and I really want those to be super, super awesome. I want them to look really good because that's what's going to grab people immediately. In my last one, it was just kind of like I created this 3D logo for myself almost. It was a spoof of the Jay Gatsby ring that he had, and where it had his initials. Well, I did this one with it where it had my initials. I liked it and made it gold and made it fly in. Well, this one I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm really excited about it, but I don't know. I have a tendency to hate all my work. It's the thing. Have you ever seen it's like the editor or graphic designer's train of thought, and it's hold on. Let me look it up real quick because I don't want to botch it because it's really funny.
Do you know who it is?
No, I don't know who it is.
It's a good quality to have while you're looking it up. That's a good quality to have in yourself, is to not like anything you're doing. To be your own worst critic is probably a good thing. And especially, like I always say, if you look back at your stuff a year ago and you think it's totally awesome and that you haven't done anything better, well, that's kind of a bad thing because that means you haven't improved at all.
Yeah.
If you look at your last demo reel and you think, oh, that's just fine, well, then just post that reel and you haven't done, because you haven't done any better.
Yeah.
There's still stuff. I mean, you can take old stuff that you still think looks good and put it in there. But, I mean, even this old stuff that I put on my reel, I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have done it this way or, change this thing about it. And eventually it kind of slips off the reel. After you get a couple reels in, it disappears to the bottom of the list.
Yeah. Hey, so the what we were talking about last week about putting in, spec work or whatever. So I'm working on my reel, and you were telling me to take out some branding statement for one of them because we've got some people that we do work for that they don't want their branding statements in the commercials.
Yeah, well, copyright and such.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I realized the scene that I was using was just a scene that I had bought versus one that I had fully modeled. And so I decided not to put it in my reel because I didn't want. So what I'm going to end up doing is actually using a different scene that I have purchased but completely redid. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You don't want stuff coming up that's people say, oh, that's a template.
Right. Okay, so it's the creative process. 1, this is awesome. 2, this is tricky. 3, this is shit. 4, I am shit. 5, this might be okay. 6, this is awesome. And I get this. I get the creative process in my head all the time on any project I'm working on because I always hit this is shit. I am shit.
Man, that is how I feel about the project I'm working on right now.
Yeah. And once you get it done, you're going to be like, this is awesome. And you're going to want to show it to everyone.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm almost perpetually on 3 and 4 moving back and forth.
It's totally it's like the what do they call it, the what is the other phases thing called where like you first step is denial and then
your stages of oh my gosh,
I don't know why my mind's playing
it's grieving
stages of it's like the stages of grieving
for
your work.
Yeah. Totally.
Man.
For every job that comes in.
So you having problems with Premiere, you said?
Yeah, dude. So I'm working on Premiere on my laptop. And we'll get into laptop here in a minute because I want to talk about that. But right now I'm using my old laptop. I bought a new one, but I'm using my old one and I'm editing Premiere on it. And so I want to move over to my Monster Mac and start editing on there. And Premiere, I open up the project. I open up the project and it said, it opens up CC 2015. And I'm working in 2014. It said this is from a older project or newer project or older project. We need to save it out. So, you do the save, whatever, and then it freezes on me. I'm like, well, this is crappy. So I open up CC 2014 because I know 2014 works fine for me. I open it up and it says this is a newer version of Premiere. So we need to save it out. I'm like, well, what? I'm using CC 2015. Well, apparently I'm using a newer version of CC 2015 on my laptop than I am on my computer.
So, right. Okay.
So I'm like, well, this is crappy. So, okay, well, let's save it out. Okay, now it freezes up on me again. So I'm like, what? Or maybe, no. I can't remember. Anyway, so I end up upgrading my 2014 to the newest version of 2014. And now I can't get a single thing to open up. I can't get Premiere to open up at all on my main computer in 2014 or 2015. And it sucks because now I'm stuck editing my demo reel on my laptop.
What does it do? Does it lock up? Does a screen come up? Does it start to do something?
No, it's weird. It will it'll say you need to save it out, or it'll get to a certain point almost every time and then either do the spinning wheel of death or it just won't do anything and I have to force quit it. It literally either spinning wheel of death or it won't continue doing anything, or it'll give me a pop-up, like one of the pop-ups saying you need to save out your stuff, and then it'll freeze there and it won't let me click on anything.
It sounds a lot like the problem that I had when I first installed.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing. I don't want to reinstall the entire Creative Suite over again.
I know you wouldn't have to do the whole thing.
No,
Premiere.
No, I did Premiere. I actually uninstalled it and then reinstalled it, and it still wouldn't work.
There's two things. Number one, I had a problem. This is actually the second problem I had, but number one is the GPU thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have it set to GPU?
I have no idea because I can't even open it.
The other problem I did have when it wouldn't open at all, it would start to open and it would do that crash thing right away, right? It was because the type of monitor I had it connected to was not compatible.
What?
I actually connected it to this 4K monitor. But my system at the time, it was CC 2014, and my 760 card and my older version of OS X, that monitor wasn't compatible. And I traced it down finally to the fact that if I unplugged that 4K television, Premiere would not crash when I opened it.
Well, maybe I should try, because I've got a TV plugged into it. But it's just a 720p TV.
I'd say it doesn't matter. I would say unplug that TV. Are you in front of it right now?
Yeah, totally. I'm going to give it a try.
Unplug it, because wouldn't that be funny? But that was the weirdest thing, because I was like, there's no way. It's just an output. Who cares? And I wasn't outputting to it. It's not like I had it set to do the output to that monitor. It's not like it was using that monitor for anything. It didn't matter. Once I installed 2014, I believe, it just wouldn't work at all.
I had to take my headphones off, but I unplugged the wrong one. Hold on.
That's funny. So, yeah, that'll be cool. If it's not that, man, I don't know what else to tell you. Maybe your preferences. Maybe you'll have to delete some P-list stuff. I don't know what else to do besides undoing the whole thing. It's kind of sucky situation. Are you there?
Okay, I've got it unplugged.
All right.
Were you talking about me?
Well, I was just talking about the issue in general, but
Oh, okay, because I didn't have my headphones on.
we'll see what happens.
All right,
Anyway.
Premiere 2015. Let's give this a try. Hopefully my computer doesn't lock up and I lose this entire recording.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Artwork by Doug Schwartz. May the Schwartz be with you. Oh, okay. So how about this? Did you see this? That Adobe is showing all their Adobe stock video and audio once you open Premiere now.
What do you mean?
Like it's on the open recent or new project or whatever, the thing that first pops up. Down at the bottom, they now have the Adobe stock, millions of images and videos. Search for stock video, and they're basically advertising right there for you. Or they're advertising themselves.
Well, I turned off the thing that shows that stupid screen when you open it.
Oh, that's smart.
So I don't see that anyway.
Okay, so it's gotten to the save project. Oh, spinning wheel of death.
Man, okay, well, close that before you lose your other Adobe stuff, like the one that's recording the podcast.
Right. All
right. So
see, but it's weird. It doesn't say quit. It doesn't say force quit. Like it's frozen up. Oh,
right.
It's weird. Oh, hold on. Boy.
Yeah, you'll have
Force
to kill
quit.
some preferences or something and see what you can do. I'll try and help you out with it later.
Okay.
So let's move on to the main topics of the show, because that was all this week.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy, right? Like, that's everything that happened this week on top of actually doing projects.
We didn't talk about my new computer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, let's talk about my new computer. Okay, so I got a new laptop, right? It's basically the exact same laptop I'm working on. We do it through my wife's work program, blah, blah, blah. I've said this before. And so we just decided to buy another laptop because what if mine goes down? Then I wanted to have another laptop just in case. So this one's, mine was a 2010 or 2011. This new one's a mid-2012 model. It's basically the bottom of the line MacBook Pro, but what I like about it, so what I was going to do is I was going to take it and I was going to call up Apple, and because the school didn't offer any other options, any upgradable options. So I was going to call up Apple, say, listen, this isn't what I really want. Can I trade it in and pay the difference? And I called them and they said yes. So I was like, okay, sweet. Let's do this. I'm going to get a Retina display laptop. I'm really excited about it. So I start looking at the options and it's like, oh, well, you're stuck with, you can't upgrade the RAM yourself because it's soldered onto the motherboard.
Yeah.
And if
that's normal.
Yeah, well, that's normal now.
Yeah.
And if you want to upgrade your storage, it's a giant hassle to do it versus having to pay more money to do that. Which, the option that you gave me was there's some sort of SD card adapter or something that you can do that'll double the amount of storage you have.
Yeah, it's that Terra something or other that Nick was pushing for the winners of the 5-second project.
Yeah.
Like he did 2 of them in a row where you could win it. And it goes into the SD slot and it fits flush. And you can get like 256 and I think even 512.
Oh, it actually fits flush?
It fits flush. Like you don't even know that it's in the computer after that.
Can you do that with like these older ones as well?
I think it's more likely in the older ones.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, maybe I'll do that as well.
They're changing it to where there's less and less stuff on all the laptops now. So
yeah, the new Mac Pros, or the new MacBooks, not the MacBook Pros. The new MacBooks are just USB-C only.
Yeah,
so weird.
I recommended it to my mother-in-law and she bought one. So I actually
really?
saw it and it looks great. It's completely flush. It's like she doesn't even have that. Now she has an extra 256 gig SSD on top of her regular SSD.
That's cool. So I decided that I didn't want to pay the extra $600, $700 that it was going to take in order to upgrade my computer to what I would want, because I do Cinema 4D stuff on my laptop. I mean, I don't run Octane, but I'll do modeling and I'll do basic Cinema 4D stuff, and I do a lot of After Effects with it. You know, I have 16 gigs of RAM in my laptop. I've got I think a terabyte of storage in there, and I want to be able to do what I want to do, and I don't want to be limited. And if I want to upgrade at any point, I don't want to have to just go out and buy a new computer. So I just decided to keep the one that I had, and I bought. I'm going to switch over the RAM that I have in my current laptop over there, so I'll have 16 gigs again. And I ordered a 256 gig SSD and a 2 terabyte internal hard drive, like 2.5 hard drive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the CD-ROM drive and put my SSD in there, and replace my regular drive with the 2 terabyte one, and I'm gonna do just a straight up copy of my Monster Mac SSD and just pop it right in there, so I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So, and it's irritating that I hate the way Apple does things. I absolutely hate the way, like, I love their programs, or I love the operating system, you know, and I love that it feels so much more fluid than it did, say, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you know, when you were working on G3s and G4s and G5s and Avid was crashing every single time you opened it, you know, and I don't know, it feels a whole lot more stable, and it works so much better. But man, I hate their closed system and how it's not upgradable and it's not customizable at all. And I don't, and I worry that one day it's going to get to the point where I'm going to hit a wall and I'm going to be like, I can't work with you anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's my worry with the desktops as well.
Yeah. And I love my Monster Mac. My Monster Mac is awesome, but you know, I worry. I just worry about how much longer I have with everything.
You know, here's the thing. Here's the one thing that we can look forward to. You know, when you think of stuff like Octane 3 coming out, if you look at the beta now that's in the new Octane plugin for Cinema, there's actually an option where you can say, render this on the cloud.
Yeah.
Boom, there you go, right? So,
yeah, but how much are you going to have to pay for that?
Well, you might be surprised. It may end up costing you less money than buying the cards themselves. But either way, think of it in a bigger scale. You know, we are going closer to cloud computing now, where we're just going to have dumb boxes pretty soon.
Yeah.
You know, where maybe you have to have a decent video card to do what you got to do, but it meant so much. Even though I don't necessarily like it, so much is going in the cloud that pretty soon it's almost like we won't have to soup these things up, because not only will they be better by default and be able to handle what we're trying to throw at them, but the computing power doesn't even have to be local.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but the problem is we're not at that point right now, and
not yet. But I think
yeah,
we'll be
but
able to
how much
last
longer?
until then.
How much longer is it going to be before that actually happens? Because it needs to be here now. In my opinion.
Well, of course,
you know, that point needs to be here now.
Well, even
because we're in this. This is remember when HD first came out, and how long it took people to like really get on the HD bandwagon. Right. It was like, oh no, I'm working in SD, I'm working in HD. I remember HD came out, and it was probably like a year or a year and a half, maybe even 2 years before I even saw anything in HD. And I feel like this, it was this big transition. I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now.
Well, it was really tough on the technology back then.
Yeah, I know. It was really hard to do stuff.
It was so easy to do SD on a G4.
Yeah.
Like a dual G4 tower. And if you threw HD at it, it was game over. You know, whereas like you can do 4K right now on a lot of computers, and maybe even if it doesn't handle it that well, it's still okay. You know, it's better than it was. Even people doing 8K and such, but
yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
I just the whole laptop thing got me scared. Because I like being able to customize my stuff. I don't like. I mean, why would they solder in RAM in order?
It's because it's easier for them to make all that stuff that way.
Yeah, but still.
Just make one piece of circuitry.
But if at any point I want to upgrade it, I can't. I can't even take it up to the Apple Store and say, hey, I want you to put 8 more. I want you to charge me $200 to put 8 gigs of RAM in my computer.
It's like your iPhone. You get whatever size iPhone you want, and that's what you get.
Yeah, but still, at least I can load off some of my storage or whatever. I've got 32 storage is, I don't know. It's irritating. It's very irritating. So anyway.
So let's get into the meat of the program and the main topics now that we're an hour in, right?
Now that we're an hour in.
But there's something I talked about last week. I promised I would talk about, and that's OmniFocus.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and I was going to explain it to you a little bit, and then maybe you could download the trial and try it for a little while, and let me know what you think.
Will do.
And even if you're a listener as well. Now, OmniFocus is based off of the Getting Things Done method, the GTD method, which if you're a Merlin Mann fan, he would say, which is copyright David Code 2001. It is a book that kind of started it all, and the book was kind of an analog way of organizing things. It had to do with how you organize your thoughts. Now, when you think of something that you have to do and you're driving down the road, let's say, what do?
I think about it and it drives me crazy, I guess. Mm-hmm. When I think about something I have to do. Actually, I learned this from you. I learned this by watching you. You would always tell Siri to remind you of something. And so I do that a lot. Actually, that's the only reason I use Siri. And most of the time she gets what I'm saying wrong. So, if I say, remind me at 8 o'clock tonight to do that graphic, and 8 o'clock comes up and I get a notification and it says, fluff your pillow. Okay. I then have to remember that fluff your pillow means do that graphic.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, that's kind of the thing. When you, like you said, something will drive you crazy. When you get a thought in your mind, it's something about the way the human brain works, right? Where once that thing's in your mind, even if you kind of stop thinking about it and you move on to something else, something in your subconscious is saying, "Oh, I got to do that thing. I got to do that thing. Got to do that thing. Show me the blueprints. Show me the blueprints. Show me the blueprints. Show me the prints. Show me the blueprints. Show me the blueprints."
What is that from?
Aviator.
The movie Aviator?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Oh. Anyway, so your mind gets in this loop, and the problem with that is that it subconsciously starts stressing you out, and you're like, oh, I got all these things to do, and then you forget about it, and then something goes the wayside and whatnot. And a lot of people ask me how I am able to do certain things. How do you do all of that or whatever, And besides
how exactly are you so awesome?
Right. I'm not talking about that. I'm like, when people are like, how did you get all of that stuff done? Because that's ridiculous. Like, you are doing a podcast and you're doing this thing and you have this side job and you're doing this thing too. And I'm like, it's not just because lack of sleep, which is number one, but it's because of the way that I write things down and the way that I organize things in order to figure out what's the best method to get them done. So if you haven't heard of this method before, there's the first thing that happens with anything, no matter what it is inbox, right?
Okay.
And back in the day, that was like a real inbox where you would like write that down and put it in an inbox, or something would come in and go in an inbox. But think of this as an inbox for your stuff to do, from your mind to the inbox. And the inbox is where you place everything to start. And it's a big mess because it's just a whole bunch of stuff. And so when you're driving down the road and you have that idea, you put it in the inbox. For example, my OmniFocus allows me to open up the OmniFocus app on my watch and say what that item is into Siri, and it puts it into my inbox.
Does she get it right?
Close enough. Yeah. Now, I'll tell you, like, the voice recognition when they did the watch, man, it's pretty spot on.
Yeah, I wish they do that with the phone.
But I'll do that with the web. I have not the web client. I have a desktop client, which is the main thing that I use. There is the phone and stuff, for if I'm remote. I mainly use that for inboxing, not organization, because it's a lot easier to organize in the desktop app. But it's always open. Like, OmniFocus never closes on my computer. It is always open. It's either sitting there on one of the monitors or it's minimized. And it's something about getting it out of your head that makes you be able to relax a little bit and move on to the next thing, and not, it's like,
does it just get it out of your head, or are you able to relax because it's out of your head, or are you, there's a difference between being able to relax because it's out of your head and being able to relax because you actually got it done.
Right. And this helps you do both of those things. Number one is it lets you go back to your work and not worry about, I think that's the biggest thing, is worrying about forgetting it, right? Because you're like, oh, I gotta do this and this today, and I gotta do that, oh, I gotta do that thing next week, and then all of a sudden you forget to do it, and your mind is always worried that it's gonna forget that stuff. So here's an example. I sent you something about podcast sponsorship earlier.
Yeah. Did you get my response?
Yeah. It's been sitting here on loop the whole time we've been doing it.
That's funny.
So that link, all I had to do, because I came across that link, was put it in my inbox. Because I need to check up on that. I'm not going to do it right now, but tomorrow morning when I sit down and I go through my inbox, I'm going to put that somewhere.
So you've got it actually timed in your, you've got time set aside every day to actually go through your inbox?
The very first thing I do every day is go through the inbox, and I sort the stuff that's in the inbox.
Okay.
Because it's going to put it at that point somewhere where it needs to go. Okay. So now we got
like,
the whole
is it
thing.
Hourly per day, or is it just this is a list of stuff I have to get done?
It's like a to-do list in a way, but you can do sub to-do lists, right? So for example, for Brograph right now, I have something that says Brograph, and it says Brograph email address, because I finally wrote that down, and Brograph thumbnails for the older archives that don't have the new version of the thumbnails. Now,
that's funny.
It doesn't mean that I need to do it right now, but that's going to allow me to remember to do it later. When an appropriate time comes up. Now, when you do this, there's a couple things that you do for your inbox before something will disappear from your inbox. Because you can hit clean up on your inbox, and the stuff that you've taken care of will disappear. Number one is to put it in some sort of project. Okay, everything is considered a project, and this can work for everything in your life. This is not just for your work. This is for your home. This is for everything that you do. This is for anything that you ever think about. So if you're driving and you're like, oh, I got to pick up chili for dinner, you put that in there.
Okay.
Because you're going to go through it, and then at some point, you're going to categorize that into the right place. Now, that could be, I do have a thing that's for very, very miscellaneous stuff called miscellaneous. It's the miscellaneous project. But you can get down into the details like housework. Right, or repair stuff, or however you want to do that. I break it down into stuff like Brograph and Nexus, Nexus clients. So each client has their own project, and you can do subcategories. You think of something you have to do for that project, and then you put it in that project. So if I have to, I did an invoice for that thing, I put it in there, right? And I say invoice for that thing. Okay, I'm not going to forget to invoice, because that sucks to forget to invoice something. Okay?
Oh, speaking of.
Right. Now put that in your inbox right now. Because what's going to happen, you don't have to think about it. You wrote it down. So tomorrow morning you're going to categorize that.
The thing is, like, doing an invoice or something with Wave apps, it's so easy to invoice, like, literally. I can create an invoice in like 3 seconds and then just send it. Why not? See, normally with some of this stuff,
yes.
It's like, just send it. Just do it real quick.
Well, there is that.
I need to pay this bill. I'll just do it in my car because it's easy.
Well,
while I'm
if you're
driving home.
able to do it at the time you think of it, that's another story.
Yeah.
But most of the time you're not. And there is an element of organization to it that is in this book, Getting Things Done book, about things that take less than 5 minutes to do. Okay, and that brings up context, right? There is a context for everything that you do. So, for example, invoicing. Right now, I have 1, 2, 3 different things in my inbox that I have to invoice. I set up a thing usually, and you can set up, stuff that's a repeated action. Okay.
From the point in which I said, "Oh yeah, that reminds me," to just now I sent an invoice.
Right. Which is
go ahead.
fine, but you can't always do that. Or maybe you have a bunch of invoices you have to do. I have 3 of them in there right now because I know I need to get to that. And it's even stuff where I'll put it in when I'm working on the project because I know I'm going to have to invoice for it. I can't invoice for it because the project's not done. And I look like a jerk invoicing before I'm done. But I don't want to forget about it later. So I put it in there. And when I get to it, I say, oh, I need to invoice that when it's done. So I will mark a date that is appropriate. Like, I'm going to finish this tomorrow. I'm going to invoice it for it the next day. Okay. And then I'll keep doing that. Now, one of my contexts that I have in there is called invoicing. So I'll sit down and it says time to invoice. I go to contexts and I'll click on invoicing and it will show because I have categorized those not only under project. Like if I want to go to projects, I can see everything about the project from emails that I had in notes and all the way down through the project itself and then down to the actual invoice.
But that you have to physically put those notes in there as well, right? And those emails?
Well, I don't put the emails.
There's not a way to just mark your email go-to inbox of this particular project, like a Chrome extension or something like that.
No, not really. I will paste notes that are relevant. Like if someone sends me a list of changes, I'll put them in the notes for that, so that I can look it up. Or an address. Addresses are really good. Say, oh yeah, we're gonna have lunch on this day, and here's the address. I put it in there because then there it is. And this brings in your calendar and all that stuff too. But that's all projects, right? You go to context. I have a lot of stuff for contexts of things I do. Meeting, graphics. Like graphics, animation, advertising, website stuff, editing, payroll, bills, email. Oh, I got to email that person. I put it under there. Because what happens? I sit down at the coffee shop in the morning, right? I'm going to the contexts that take less than 5 minutes to do. Invoicing, boom. You need to invoice these 5 people because you marked that. Email. Oh, you wrote down you needed to email these 5 people about these 5 different things. I have one in there called internet, stuff that you would just have to go do on the internet. Yeah, I got to send my Secret Santa for Reddit something. That's on there. That's on internet. That kind of thing.
What are you going to get your Reddit Secret Santa?
I don't know yet. Because they said surprise me.
Oh.
So it sucks. But I'm internet stalking them so I can figure out something appropriate.
That's funny.
Promotion. Things like that. Quote, oh, I got to quote this person. I got to quote these people. But then I also set up stuff that comes up weekly. What comes up weekly? Every Monday, it says review invoicing. That means open up Wave apps and go through and make sure that nobody is overdue.
That's smart.
And every Monday it happens because here's the next part of this whole thing. You have something, and this is where I live. It's called Forecast. And when you click on Forecast, you have a little calendar of the next 30 days. And on each date, it has a number of how many things you have to do that day. So at quick glance, I can see that on the 11th, next Friday, I have 10 things I have to do. Tomorrow, I have 11 things I have to do. I have 30 things that I was supposed to do in the past that says on the past, which means I need to click on past and I need to go through these things that I skipped and either check them off and say, oh, I did do that, or I need to recategorize that because I didn't realize that this project was going to go crazy this weekend. So here's an example.
Yeah, but doesn't stuff just build up and build up and build up, and that then eventually you're just like, I can't, there's so much on my paper, I just need to close down the app and feel better about myself that I don't have so much going on?
No, because that's part of the getting things done method. You have an actual project that you call like future stuff. I forget the name they have for it. Future stuff you want to do in the future, like long term is what it's called. Long term projects. Something I want to do maybe a year from now, and you don't see it, right? So what happens with these things, you go through these every day and you recategorize them. If you recategorize something more than a couple days, you're probably not going to get to it. Priorities of things change, right? I'm saying right too much. Priorities of things change. Oh, my gosh.
Dude, when I listen to these podcasts, I say, all the time. And I say, what was the other one?
I say, all the time.
I can't remember. I've started hating myself for it.
I'm the same way. So even down to Throwback Thursday. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I know you're like everyone that fad has passed, and you're the only one still doing Throwback Thursday.
But I haven't done it in a while. Yeah. And so what I'll do,
2 weeks.
So my Throwback Thursday, I missed it. So I'm just going to check it because it's set up for every week. So that'll just reappear. I put all my bills in there for when they're due. I have pay phone bill. I was supposed to do that the other day. I didn't. So that is one I wouldn't recategorize. I would see it and be like, okay, I really got to take care of that so my phone doesn't get cut off. But I'm good. And I'll check it. And next month at the same time, it'll come back up and say it's time to pay that bill. And that's what I like about that, about reminders to do stuff like that. What else? For example, go to the bank. I did that. I'm going to check it off rather than recategorize it. Samsung repair is done.
How user friendly is it between all your different devices that you have?
Very. Yeah, it looks the same on them all. It's a little pricey for the iPad one, I think.
How much?
It's like $30-$40.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, for an app?
Maybe it's changed.
How much is it for the computer?
It's probably the same, I think.
$40. Jeez.
It is so. I mean, this is how I run my life. Like, this is a big deal.
Suppose. But can you just use it seems to me like you could just use an Excel sheet or stickies or something.
This is easier than that. And here's the thing. It keeps you responsible.
What about Trello? I showed you Trello the other day.
Yeah, I saw Trello, and this is kind of a similar concept. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you, if you start using this religiously, and I don't even use it to its full extent, because you can go into things and say, defer this thing until here, complete this thing. The other thing that's great about it is it has something called focus. So if you're working on a project and you have like 1 million different to-dos under that one project, you can click on it and you could say focus, and everything else disappears. And then once a week, you do something called a review, where you go in the review and it shows pending things that are just kind of in the ether that you may have forgotten to address or whatnot. And you go through each one and you mark it as either an active thing you're working on, it's on hold, it's completed, or it's dropped. Now, the thing about on hold is this is where I came up with the concept of next action on our project management system you and I had a while back at a place we were working. Because what happens is when you're working on a project, sometimes you'll kind of come to a halt and you are waiting on someone else to do something. And when you do that, you put the project on hold because it's out of sight, out of mind type thing. Then your OmniFocus knows this thing's on hold. It's not going to bring it up. It's not going to tell you about it. So again, forecast is where I usually stay, but context is what makes this so great. For example, I have a context in here, and it's called errands. Now, the way that you categorize everything and do subcategories is you do the name of something and you do colon and then something else. So for example, I have errands, but I have errands : CVS. So if I think of some things I have to get from CVS, I'm putting them in the inbox. Pick up my allergy medicine. What else do you get at CVS? I don't know. Get baby formula, which I don't do anymore, but I used to.
Dude, you don't buy it from CVS. You always go to Costco.
So all of that stuff, because you don't always go to CVS. CVS could be one of those things where, I forgot. I always forget to go to the drugstore. I also need some more Tylenol because I'm out of that. Maybe I need to get a watch battery. And you put that in there, and you put that under your errands you have to do, but you do the context of CVS. You can even put on geotagging so that when you pass a CVS within X number of miles that you specify, your OmniFocus comes up and says, hey, you need 5 things from CVS. Why don't you stop and go get those? And it sounds like a lot of work, but it's not, because once you set up these categories and you're just throwing your things in the inbox and you're going through every day and putting like the 5 inbox things where they go, it's all gravy. So forecast, for example, next Friday, I've pushed things off to next Friday because you and I have talked about them, about joining the Dallas Producers Association as a full member, about our email list for our company, about updating our Behance, about I've got my Christmas shopping I have to finish. I have moved that up to Friday because I know that I can't get to it till then, and it's in the right place. So I know that I'll be done with my stuff. I have stuff I have to do Friday, and I'll reassess. You're constantly reassessing.
Man,
but
it seems like a lot of work. I'm pretty good. I've got a pretty good. I'm pretty good at remembering things and time management and stuff like that.
But there are.
I don't know.
It sounds complicated because you have to do the context, and the first time you do context, you have to spend some time thinking about what you want those contexts to be.
What's how user friendly is it? Is there a really big learning curve?
No, not at all. I mean, it just looks like a checklist.
In comparison, compare it as Octane and V-Ray. Would you say it's more Octane or more V-Ray?
It's like using iCal.
Oh, that's boring.
It's in a way it is, because here, once you have your contexts and projects set up, this is all you do. Something's in your inbox, right? Okay, I have it in there right now. Invoice this X project, right? All I have to do, I'm going to type it in. Invoice this thing. Okay, I'm going to write what company it's for. All right. It's the company we used to work for. I wrote that in there, and I hit tab. Context. That's invoicing. And then I'll tab that. What day? Tomorrow. You can type. You can use real language. Like, so in the date field, I wrote tomorrow. It's done. That's it. That's all I have to do. And so now I just, I go through, like, I've got 10 things in here. I'll go through it. I'll do those 3 things with each one, and I hit clean up, and it's gone. And it's out of sight, out of mind until I have to address it. So tomorrow morning, I'll sit down. I'll say, I got to look at this. I'll have my list, or I'll go to context. Okay, it's invoicing time. I know I got a lot of invoices. I click on the invoicing context. Here is a list of who I'm invoicing. That's, and once you wrap your head around that, there are 3 things you have to do for each thing in your inbox. That's it. And you're done. And it becomes so organized. And you get to that point where you do have stuff build up, but you make a decision. You say, how important is this? I'll delete it, and if it comes up again, maybe I'll reconsider it.
I don't know. It's $40 for the standard version, $80 for the pro version.
You want the pro version.
Okay.
But I believe that there's a trial for it.
Yeah.
And you could probably get
there's a try for 14 days. But
you really should try it.
iOS, it's $60 for the pro version on iOS. So you're going to spend $60. You're going to spend $80 for the actual app on the computer, and then you're going to spend another $60 for the iOS.
It's pretty incredible what it does.
And
Especially that calendar layout.
It's not Android compatible?
I don't know about that. I don't know. But I'm telling you, the first thing you need to do is get the audiobook off of Audible. And he reads he reads it himself. It's kind of outdated because he doesn't talk about OmniFocus. He talks about the method. If you read about this method or listen to the book about this, if you're a podcast listener, you'll listen to it in a couple days. It's not a big deal. It's not that long to begin with. Listen to that. Learn first about the method, because it's the method that is so great. And then once you jump into this program, then you'll be like, oh, well, this makes perfect sense because this matches the method. And you'll if you really sit down, don't just play with it, really sit down and do those contexts, and really do the thing where each day you go in your inbox, or even twice a day, you go in your inbox and you start putting things in there. You do the app and you add it in your app. And what's great is the way it syncs, because you add it in one place. It doesn't matter where you are, you have an opportunity to put something in your inbox and never forget about it. And then you're relaxed because that thing that I just thought of is not going to worry me. It's going to be taken care of because I know I will circle back to it next time I sit down and go through my inbox.
Well, I'll give it a try. I'll do the trial, the 14-day trial. I don't think I'm going to do the iOS thing. And I really think that's going to be, that's the big thing.
That is the big thing. Just the inbox.
And just being able, like, that's so expensive. That's so expensive.
Yeah, but there's a lot behind this program, and I think you'll find that it's worth it once.
Yeah, but I mean, look at a website like Trello or Slack, you know, where you've got a lot of the same functionality and stuff, but they're not charging anything.
Well, that's because they have a different business model.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, OmniFocus, the program, isn't selling you ads. You have to pay. You know, I mean, that's why those other ones are free, because they're throwing you ads and
Trello doesn't have any ads
or whatever they do. Or they're on that business model where, oh, well, we'll figure out how to make profit later.
And Trello, I think, does...
That stuff doesn't last.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, the price gets me. It's like, that's really expensive. I know, but most software isn't.
Well, we're going to sell the plugin for about the same price. So, I mean, I don't see, you know, they got a whole team working on that thing, and they have a lot of people employed there, and it's a big deal, man. Like I'm telling you, GTD Method has a giant following. Like, this is the biggest.
It seems to me like a lot of why not do the regular version for free? You know, and then the pro version. Well, the pro version as like a monthly charge or something, instead of charging $100. Like you could even set it up as a team. Yeah, but still, like it would make more sense to give people a taste of it for free, you know, and then figure out the stuff that I don't know. I'll try the 14-day trial.
I'm telling you, just like
the price
dig into
makes me a little hesitant.
Use it for everything you do for 14 days.
Okay.
Like, use it religiously.
Well, I can't because like I can't do a trial on my phone as well.
That is a sucky thing.
Yeah,
but you know what?
Like super sucky.
Just to try out the method.
This is easy. So they should make the app maybe a little bit more expensive, and then make the iPhone app free. Because you should make it to where you have some sort of account with them where you log in. I mean, do they do that?
You do. Yeah. Okay. You have an OmniFocus account.
Why can't they see that you're using either the dumbed down one or the pro version and then not charge you for the app? I mean, that's ridiculous to charge someone $40. It's $60 for an app.
Here's what they should do. Because I'm going to tell you, you're going to use
especially when you already pay for it once.
The app for the inbox. What they should do is make just an inbox app free. Yeah. But in the meantime, use just one thing in your notepad, just a blank page in your notes in your phone as inbox.
That's what I do. Right. I do that anyway. I mark stuff down in my notes anyway.
But take it the next step.
But then I have to go through and copy and paste it into that.
You don't have to copy and paste. Just open it and write it in there. But I'm telling you, it will change the way that you look at getting things done, because I see so many people every day who are like, oh, I just have a blank text file on my to-do list. Like, there's no context to that. And everything that you have, half the stuff on there has been on there for a month. You have to go through it every day, because if you don't go through it every day, that stuff will stack up and it will just sit there and get old and stale, and you will never categorize it in the right place, and you'll never be productive in that manner.
Yeah, when I don't know, anytime I need to be that productive, I just do stickies and have stickies on my on my thing, on my screen.
Well, give it a try. You know, I'll walk you through it whenever you get it, and we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So, do you love what you do for a living?
That's a loaded question.
Do you love your craft?
Yeah, totally.
Job. You love your craft.
Yeah, I love my craft. Like, I mean, I don't feel like I'm ever actually going to work, and I can't believe people actually pay me to do this.
So, like, money aside, if money wasn't an issue, what would you be doing?
if money wasn't an issue, like if I could do anything.
Yeah, if you weren't worried about money, what would you be doing on a day-to-day basis?
I'd be making cartoons, making people laugh, writing stories, and I mean, really, that's what I would love to do one day.
So probably in a similar profession, you'd be doing video stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Animation, probably something.
Yeah,
like
see,
that.
like if I won the lottery, I would always say that I would open my own studio and just finance movies.
See, that's pretty much the same generic like field, though.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally.
Because I wanted to talk about like dealing with clients that don't treat you well.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is something close to me right now. Trust me.
I know.
And
I saw your tweet.
Yeah, which was clients who don't respect you don't deserve you.
Mm-hmm.
You should be an expert in your field.
Here's a question for you.
And
though,
they should
like, I saw your tweet, and I was, it's like, at what point do you tell this client? Do you tell the client that I don't want to work with you anymore?
Yes.
I mean, I would assume that this client is bringing in a fair amount of money.
I'll get to that.
In order to do that. I mean, and there are gonna be crappy clients with every job you have.
Yeah,
what
but there's
what
constitutes
a really crappy client? The ones that don't.
The ones that don't respect you.
Like how? Give me an example. Like what would
let me
what,
just say
what would
let
be
me say
some,
this,
what,
'cause
what would
I
be
have,
something that they could say that would make you feel like they don't respect you?
Well, let me do this in order.
Okay.
Because I will get to that. Like people like you and me, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners, they strive to be the best at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be the best. You want to be good at it because
Absolutely.
you love it.
Mm-hmm.
I could see if you're in a different profession, it would be a different story. Like, I don't really care about this job. It's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I'm good at it. But if you're in that field and you love it, you really want to be good at it. You want to be the expert.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be an expert.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you are an expert, you still want to be better, and you still want to be the best,
Mm-hmm.
Like Ben Folds. There's always someone cooler than you or whatever. There's always going to be somebody better.
I was like, Ben Folds? She's a brick? Yeah. What?
No. There's always going to be somebody better, and you're going to be always striving, right? And if you don't feel that way about your job, then it really isn't for you. That's really not the job for you. If you don't feel that way about it, go do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sit there doing. Unless you're content, I guess. But that sucks. That being said, the one thing that can make it suck is dealing with clients that don't treat you well.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're saying, well, then, why are you with this client? Well, the problem is this is my client's client in this case.
Right,
and I'm not
right.
going to get into too many specifics. So it's something that I have to deal with right now, but I will never work for this person again. I'll tell you that. Because and that's part of what I'm going to say here. But you have to ask yourself if it's really worth it when you get in a bad situation. Is it worth the payoff in the end? Mm-hmm. Is it worth it for me? No. Is it worth it for my client? Yeah. So I'm kind of in a bind in this particular situation. But as far as being an expert and being good at what you do, you should be the expert, not them.
Well, here's a question. So it's a client of a client,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to keep doing work for this client that you have.
Right.
Does that mean that you're going to just put up with this other client, their client, from now on?
No.
Because if you tell your client that, how do you tell your client, I don't want to work with this person anymore,
believe
and
me,
them,
they know.
Well, yeah, but still, and then they're still okay with
because
bringing
they
you on.
understand the situation too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they don't understand the situation. They fully understand the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's when a client goes beyond just like not liking something, when they make you feel terrible after you spent a lot of time on something and put a lot of heart into it and whatnot. It's not about changes, because God knows that I get enough changes, and criticism or feedback that doesn't bug me. That is not a big deal. If someone wants to change something, I spend a lot of time on, that's totally fine. You got to pay for it, but changes are changes. Who cares? I'll change anything you want. It's not about that. It's about saying things that are put downs, or saying things that make you feel absolutely terrible, or expecting things that are impossible, and they should know that are impossible, and still expecting you to take the same amount of time, or to for them to pay the same amount of money. That's not the type of client I want.
Right.
Not at all. Not at all. People like that, when it's somebody where you're like, this person is just treating me like garbage, and I feel horrible. I was putting my all into it. Why? I don't feel like going to work on their project anymore, because they made me feel horrible about it. And that's not me. That's not what I'm going to deal with. That's not the type of client I want. That is a lack of respect, and I cannot do work for somebody like that. So you should be the expert.
So how do you tell a client that? Say it's not a client through its client. It's your exact client. I mean,
well, I'll tell you.
Do you offer the work to someone else and say, listen, this just isn't working out with us. It's not you, it's me.
You're talking about firing a client,
right?
Yeah, that's
exactly.
part of my spiel. Because you want to be that expert. You want to be the one that is trusted, and most of the time, the client is not somebody in the industry.
Right.
They're somebody who is relying on you, and they need to be relying on you. They need to understand that you're the expert. And so what you're telling them is probably correct. Not for them to come back until you're wrong, or tell you that you're doing your job, you're not doing your job right. Because I never have people tell me that. As anal as I am about everything, if somebody tells me that, it's usually them that are wrong. And I'm just going to be completely, straightforward about that. I'm the expert here. I think that I'm making a good decision, especially when I'm with a group of other artists who all agree with me that something looks really good, or that something doesn't need to be changed, or going a certain direction will be detrimental to the project for the client. You want to deliver the right thing for the client and the best thing for a client. So if they come up with something and there's maybe a technical reason you can't do it, they need to rely on you to tell them, like, technically we can't do it this way because XYZ. Now, it's usually for a technical reason that is a money thing or a time thing, which time is money, so it's the same thing. No, technically we can't do that because you're not paying for it. Right? So, yeah, of course I want to be able to say yes to everything. But when there's a technical reason you can't do something for time or money reasons, they need to be able to understand that you're telling them the truth. They have to trust you, that you're doing your best, and that you have their best interests at hand, and you're trying to make them the best possible product for the amount of time and money that's being put into it. If they want a bad product, they're totally welcome to it. But, that trust is what makes great things happen. So, for a client, they need to be able to rely on you, and they should trust you. You can make suggestions too about, like, I think that I know you want to go this way, but I really feel like we should go this direction because X. And in the end, you'll have to do what they want, and you might convince them that, like, maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's a bad idea, and they'll maybe go your way. But you're trying to make something that they're proud of. You're trying to make something you're proud of. You don't want it to suck. You want to be able to show it off when you're done. But ultimately, you deserve the clients you get, and that's why I choose not to allow this situation to happen again. And it won't. It will not happen again. This person will never be able to talk like that to me again, because I have fired clients before. I have fired a client before, and that was exactly what your question was. Like, what could they possibly say? Well, I had this client back in the day, And this was actually a client of a client. That's why it was such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And this client, the client who I was doing the work for, their client, like, they're still my client because, again, they understood the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Their client was the most unorganized, scatterbrained person I've ever met in my life, where I made up a giant Google Doc, right? The live Google Doc. And I had everything perfectly organized. Like, here's the description of this thing, and this thing goes here, and this thing goes here, where that list that I had there didn't even make sense to them, where they would put notes in the description field and type over the description of what the thing was.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have, this is the middle part of the production, and then the column on the right says notes on the top. And this is where the notes go, obviously, but they would type it on top of the description and it would go away, and you don't even know what the description was anymore. Like, scatterbrain to that effect. And so hard to explain to, like, it just drove me insane to the point, like, my wife saw this going on and was like, oh my God, like, this person, what in the world is going on with this person? And they were also oblivious to how they acted toward other people. And this is what really started it going. And this person wanted this stuff done, and they wanted it done now. And I said, look, I have plans to go out of town, and you want these 3 things done, and I'm going to get them done for you by this day. And so, keep pushing and making these ridiculous changes. But again, it's like, that is fine. I explained to you before that we should have done it this way, and you said no because you didn't want this, and then you came back and you said you wanted it. And I already told you that it should have been that way. But I'm okay. I'm going to do it because I'm charging more for it. Whatever. Make your change. And then it got to the point where, I was getting texts while I was going out of town saying, well, we need to do this and this with the project, and I really need it done by this day. I'm like, I already told you that I can't do it until this day. Now I'm going down to do this thing. I'm probably going to be out of pocket. And it kind of got heated. And I'm like, look, I'm doing everything I can to get this done the way you want it done, but you were making the changes, not me. And that is causing the project to go overtime. Where I was getting blamed for going overtime, where I'm like, look, I suggested this in the first place. You didn't listen to me. So now here we are, and it's not my fault. You're going to have to wait till I get back in town. Well, don't get bit by any snakes while you're down there.
Did they say that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was going, like, to the country or whatever, like to float the river in
to
Austin.
Eat a lot of peaches?
Yeah. I was going to float the river in Austin. And at that moment,
there are snakes in the river in Austin.
Oh, it was in the moment, it was the most complete inappropriate thing to say after the conversation we had just had. And I said, you know what? Forget it. I'm done. I'm not finishing this project. You can go find somebody else to do it.
Man.
I'm literally done.
So were you able to invoice for anything?
Yeah, because it was my client. And I said, look, I got them on the phone. They were 100% understandable. They said, we will pay you for what you did. You give us the files. We'll give it to somebody else. Totally understand. And you'd be surprised how many people actually do understand that. But I will not work for that. I don't care. It is not worth the money. It is not worth the frustration. No drama.
Dang.
And the guy was fine. And he was, after that, he was all of a sudden, oh, look who's apologetic. Totally apologetic, because this person knew that I did know what I was talking about. He was just being a beehole. and just, that's just how he was. I'm like, well, I don't care that you're that way. He started begging me to come back and work on the project over text. And I'm like, no, he was calling me. I didn't answer. I blocked his number. I've never talked to him again.
Wow.
And it's the best decision I ever made. Like,
that was the best decision you ever made in your life.
But not ever. But that was the best decision I made I look back at that and I'm like, yes, that is the decision I made. That was perfect for the time. I didn't care about the money. I will find somebody else who wants to pay me more money instead, and I will go work for that person. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to let people walk all over me. Don't let people walk all over you.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't do it.
Right.
You can't.
It's one of the best things about freelancing.
Because they're the variable, right?
You can pick and choose.
You're doing what you love. So you got no problems. You got no drama. You got no issues. You're rolling along, having the time of your life. They're the variable. So just don't allow that to happen.
99 problems and a client ain't one.
Mm-hmm. Show title.
There you go. Boom. Matt Milstead to the rescue.
Where's my bell? Oh, hold on. I need to have this more readily available.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So I'll wrap that up and say that I have to tell myself this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have had for some reason, some really great days recently, but some really bad days.
Yeah.
And you know it because your birthday, I just had the worst day. And after I left you, it got even worse.
Yeah. After I left you, my birthday got kind of worse too.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not.
But it is best to stop. It's best to know when to stop and start again the next day. Because as frustrated as I was with life and stuff the other day, not life, but clients mainly, and just things going on and just like, man, this just sucks. Like, I'm like, okay, now I got to work the rest of the night and I'm in a bad mood. And, maybe I should just stop, pwn some noobs.
Yep.
On Halo.
Which we did.
Oh, well, that was the next day. Yeah.
Oh.
We did that too. But maybe,
by pwning noobs, you mean playing darts.
Yeah, we did play darts in GTA. But know when to stop. Sometimes it is just best to say, I know I have a lot to do, but it's going to be detrimental for me to go on doing this in a bad mood, stay up late, have to get up the next day and work on it again, be tired.
Yeah, like, actually, you know what? Stop. Add that to next week's notes. Next week's let's talk about work-life balance, because I feel like that could be that would be a good topic with Lance, because I don't think Lance has a very good work-life balance.
He's a workaholic, and he admits that.
He is a workaholic.
I mean, it's very good if you're an employer. You love that.
Yeah, but, and if you're on salary.
Yeah, and if you're on salary, but that would be a great topic because I know I mean, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah, there was that one project when he had worked, what was it, like 4 days straight?
Oh,
the car
Trail.
One. No,
the car one? Nature Shield.
Yeah, Nature Shield. Like, he worked on that one for, like, literally 4 days straight.
And it looked great. The matte paintings were ridiculous.
Yes, they were. Yeah, they were. But anyway.
But that's totally, I'm going to write that down.
Work-life balance. That's a good one for next week.
Work-life.
Maybe I could get my wife up here to talk about what she thinks.
And I got a lot I could probably add to that, too, because of my recent changes. And I touched on that probably a little bit, just about how... there just weren't enough hours in the day, and that I didn't even remember this year because I've been sitting in front of this computer.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So I got some other minor quick topics before we go.
Sure.
I thought about this the other day. The After Effects secret menu.
A
lot of people don't know about this.
Yeah, I knew it was there. I don't use it very often. I think you might have shown it to me.
If you hold down, I believe it's Shift, and go to the...
When it starts, right?
No, and you can be in the program.
Okay.
Here's the thing. You can't hold it down when you're already in the menu. You hold down Shift, and then you go to the menu, and then go to Preferences, and then open anything in the Preferences. Memory, whatever it is, right? At the bottom of that will be something that says Secret. And you click on Secret, and up will come a few different options.
And there will be a dick butt.
Right. There will be two main things that I actually use. One of those is where you can disable the image cache, which sometimes if you're having trouble, like we talked about last week with image cache being weird, you can do that. But you could also go in and you could tell it to clear cache every X number of frames. And that's especially helpful in doing full out renders, because sometimes when you get those renders going, your RAM craps out.
Yeah, it'll be holding all that old information in your RAM when you're rendering, and you don't need that.
No.
You could, and that's something that we used to do. We would turn that on, and it would make our renders go so much faster because, after each frame, it would empty out your RAM, basically.
And it will still build up a little bit. But I had this problem this week in particular. Something was going nutso in one of my renders, and it kept crashing. And I didn't have a good way to fix it. Like, it was Video Copilot, lens flare, something was invoking crash on this. And I would notice when I would look at my RAM, every time I hit 7 gig of RAM in After Effects, the thing would crash. So I went in and I started doing that and purging simultaneously as it was rendering, and I managed to be able to get the render out in chunks. Had to do like image sequence. It was brutal, but it helped. It helped. And if you are kind of low on RAM, or you're using a laptop or something like that, you could go in there and you could tell it to clear that cache every 0 frames or every 1 frame. I think 0 means don't clear. And I think 1, if you put in 1, then after it renders 1 frame, it'll dump that cache, and it could be very helpful. And links. I got a couple links here. We've got ArtSmart for vector extrusions in Cinema 4D. This is something someone posted.
I've seen it, and I don't know if this is the particular plugin. They installed this on the computer that I'm working at before I even started working there. And now, anytime I try to, I don't know if it's this one in particular, but I know it's something. Anytime I bring in an Illustrator file, it automatically converts it to whatever plugin that is. It doesn't let me bring in the paths and stuff.
Oh, well, you should at least get the option.
Right, I know. And I don't know if it's the ArtSmart one in particular. I'll have to look, but I would say be wary. But ArtSmart is pretty cool. Like, it lets you take an Illustrator file, bring it in, and then it'll automatically color it and extrude it and stuff like that, which is pretty sweet.
Well, that's pretty cute.
It's pretty cool, I guess.
It's pretty good, I guess. X Particles.
Have you played with it?
3.5. No, I haven't. I saw that you can get a demo.
Oh, cool.
Play with a demo, I believe. I'm just looking through here and looking at the new stuff. I don't know if this is all the new or this is just everything. Caching UI. I should have pulled up a little thing of the new features specifically before. But
well, let's play around with it this week, maybe. Then maybe talk about the new upgrades.
Yeah, because I believe I have 3. So I think that if you have 3, that 3.5 is a free upgrade to that. Here's what's new in it, actually. Illumination-based emissions.
Okay.
Use Cinema 4D lights to trigger particle emissions from surfaces. So that's kind of interesting. Like, you throw a light on something and particles take off. Follow path meets cloner. Trial deformer. Trial deformer helps you breathe life into your... I'm sorry. Trail. It's getting late. Our new trail deformer helps you breathe life into your trails. Use formulas or shaders to deform your trails and add animation for full control over the trail object. That's pretty cool. XP particles fall off. Enhanced group objects and XP sound modifier. And I think Grayscale Gorilla did a little demo of how the sound modifier works, which looks pretty cool. And you can use sound to drive particles or the speed or color, size, the whole deal. So that looks pretty cool. I wish I had more time to play with X Particles.
Yeah, or more projects to do specifically with it.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Sometimes I'm like, well, I don't know what I would use this for. I mean, it's like cool looking, but you know, again, there's that practicality. You know, but And then we've got Dan Braga, I think that's how you say it. I said I would mention this in the show because I like this. It was his first Octane thing that he did. There's a Vimeo link you can go check out. It's Adaption Pictures Ident. And it's just a nice looking thing with a triangle pyramid thing.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. That one was pretty awesome. The one of the comments was the sound design was killer.
Yeah,
and that was totally, the big thing that I noticed in it. I mean, it had some simple geometry and stuff like that, but the sound was awesome. It was way awesome, and the lights at the end, how they just, oh man, that was so cool. That was like my favorite part.
And you had mentioned also when you were talking, I think, about Maya or 3D Max or something a couple weeks ago about transfer of objects from one thing to another. Like if a character picks something up.
Yeah.
I just randomly came across something this week that was talking about that, and it's using the constrained PSR tag to do that, and it's a little tutorial. So if you ever need to do that, like,
and is that it's all Espresso based? I'm assuming,
No, it's null and constraint tag based.
Okay.
I think you're keyframing the constraint tag. I didn't watch it in detail, but I think you're attaching nulls to stuff, and then you're changing what the constraint tag is referencing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would go about it if I were to just off the top of my head try and do it myself.
Cool. Very cool. I'll have to check that out.
And our listener artist of the week, I do not know how to pronounce this name at all. But he sent us his work on Facebook.
Georgia Kuznetsov?
Close as we're going to get.
Kuznetsov.
Close as we're going to get. And I don't know if you read this or had a chance to check it out. But again, it's always nice to hear from people who are listeners of the show and check out the podcast and everything. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be posting that work. I'm actually opening right now to look at the there's some cool stuff in here, these Oreos and stuff.
Yeah, there is.
The cookie stuff. There's some really great work. So we're going to post that in the show notes. You can check that out. And
I like the Oreo ones and the Chips Ahoy, I think that is.
The Chips Ahoy and the car. There's a car in there, which is pretty cool looking. And then each one of these links to a more detailed page that has more screenshots and photos of the work. So good looking stuff.
Yep.
Good looking stuff. I like the Penske stuff with like the shallow like tilt shift depth of field.
Looks like he's using V-Ray, Maxwell, Real Flow. Cinema 4D.
Cool stuff.
That's cool. Cool. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, I'm wore out, man.
I know. Tell me about it.
Another
this week
2-hour show.
Man, I'm still just full of meat.
That's what she said.
I'm like so tired right now because I'm all filled with meat.
And I still got to post the show.
Yeah, you do. Have fun with that.
Yeah. So it's going to be a long week. I don't expect that I'm going to get much out content-wise for Brograph this week.
Yeah, same here. But this month is just going to be it's crazy busy. It's so crazy busy.
It's way better after this week, man.
Yeah.
And of course, then Star Wars is going to come out. And
nobody's
going to do
we should go see Star Wars. We should go see Star Wars opening night.
Oh gosh, dude. You think we're going to get tickets at this point? That's impossible. They were sold out weeks ago.
Really?
Oh, dude. Yes. Everybody bought their tickets online the second they came out. Like a month ago.
It's going to be I guarantee you I could find tickets. Maybe not for opening night.
My daughter's got a dance recital that night anyway. I can't go, so.
Oh, which night is it? It's not the 19th. 19th is your party.
Yeah, my party is the 19th.
If you're going to be in Dallas...
No, seriously. If you're
on the 19th,
person, there's gonna
send us an email. There's going to be a really cool party.
All the Octane dudes and video dudes and compositing dudes that we talk about on here.
Hey, already been chewed. If you're listening to the podcast, come to our party.
That's right.
Or Dave's party. It's not my party. I don't even know if I can go.
You better be there.
I will try.
So everybody, thanks for listening. You can rate us on iTunes and leave a review. It sounds like people are starting to do that. Contest is, what do we have to get, one more or the end of the year?
No, I'm not counting you. So we got 2 more. We need 2 more.
2 more. Okay.
And then, or at the end of the year. So.
All right. We love the review. We love the ratings because that really gets us out there. iTunes it's a mystery how they work their charts and their recommendations. So please get out there because we do know that the reviews and the ratings help. Also, you can subscribe to us. You can subscribe on iTunes if you're listening to this on just like the regular file on the website or somewhere else. Please do subscribe because that helps as well for iTunes. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We are Brograph Tutorials on YouTube. That's our channel. That's where most of the stuff happens. Our website is getting a little more traction in itself now that we're a little more than just a YouTube channel. We're doing the blogs and stuff like that on there. So watch on there where we got more stuff showing up there. And what else? We got the t-shirts.
Twitter and Facebook. Hit us up on one of those. We've seen people ask us questions, and we're really good about getting back to you. Pretty quick. Dave is really good about getting back to you really quick.
Like almost instantly.
Yeah, he is.
I'm all about it, man. I'm all about talking to people about this kind of stuff.
Because you're all omni-focusing.
That's right.
So, and then if you guys want to send us an email directly, or you want to be our listener, featured listener of the week, you can send us an email at brographtuts@gmail.com. That's brographtuts@gmail.com.
We should get a better email address at some point.
There it is.
It's in my OmniFocus. So it's going to happen at some point. That's pretty good. I got to put a date on it.
Right.
Yeah. So until next time, have a good one, everybody. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
Later.
Later, bros.
It's pretty good, I guess. Brograph.com, an online resource for learning critical components of Cinema 4D and After Effects, specifically catered to help you prevail as a motion graphic designer.
What's up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph motion graphics tutorial.
We give you professional time-saving tips, shortcuts, and lessons that help give you an edge over your fellow designers. Not only this, but our new Brograph Talks help you in your file management, hardware configuration, and client relations.
I love projects that scare me. When our art director comes to us and asks for something that I had never done before, man, it gets me pumped.
Join us for live sessions, check out our crazy Cinema 4D experiments, or just watch our Fun with Brograph series, where we show you practical applications for techniques learned in previous tutorials. Do this from the beginning, and your client is going to respect that, and they're going to respect you, and they're going to respect your time. Subscribe today and get automatic updates on the latest tutorials, tricks, tips, and inspiration brought to you by industry professionals Dave Koss and Matt Milstead, all with a slight dash of dry humor peppered in. Real nice banana.
Brograph.com, your source for tutorials that will help you thrive in the motion graphics industry. Don't just play around with Cinema 4D and After Effects, master it, and make money by becoming indispensable at your workplace.
We don't care how you get here, folks. Just get here. Subscribe now to Brograph Tutorials. It's pretty good, I guess.